Hi, I'm here today to talk to you about something that's very personal to me as my own chiropractic story. This is how I got involved in chiropractic and Atlas orthogonal upper cervical adjusting specifically. Um, and I apologize ahead of time because I might choke up a little bit. It's a very moving story for me. Um, I started out when I was in high school and I was getting sick a lot. I was in and out of doctor's offices all the time, bronchitis, tonsillitis. I even had mono. I was in a hospital for a while, had my tonsils out. Um, we didn't know what was going on, why I kept getting sick, and why I wouldn't get better. When I was about 19 years old, a family friend of ours was a manual chiropractor, and he helped us out a lot. He helped me to stop being sick all the time. But what was happening is that I was starting to progress and I had some severe pains starting. I had migraine headaches, which had happened off and on since I was 10 years old. They were starting to become more frequent. I had a migraine for a month and a half straight at one point. I was completely incapacitated. Drugs didn't touch it. They could knock me out, but they didn't take the headache away. I'd wake up with the headache. Um, but I had diffuse pains, burning pains, pains down the arms. Felt like between the bones, felt like it was pulling the bones apart. Headaches, fog, mental fog. I was tired. I couldn't concentrate. And I had those pains going down my legs too, and just they didn't know what they were, and they just came and went as they wanted. I couldn't sit in a car long term, both because of the pain and because of motion sickness. I couldn't sit in class because I couldn't stay in one spot. It burned so much here or in my low back. And I had trouble in college. I was in community college and just undergrad at that time, and I had trouble reading a paragraph and remembering what I said. I was having trouble getting through classes. I couldn't remember what was going on, what the instructors were talking about. I had social anxiety because I couldn't remember what someone had just said when I was talking to them. So all of these things kind of culminated. I got a diagnosis of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue when I was 19 years old. My mom at that time wanted me to go on disability, and I was like, no way. Disability is great, and I'm glad it's there for the people that need it, but I was not ready to do that. I was like, there's got to be a cause for this. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to find a way to make me better. And it wasn't until a few years later, and a lot of suffering, a lot of miserable years later. I think I was 22, almost 23. I had actually decided to be a chiropractor. I had moved back to the area and was going to a prospective student event at Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport. And I was waiting for my friend to adjust me. I had been to a manual chiropractor before, and I had needed to be adjusted 3 times a week for like a year. And he didn't want to adjust me that much anymore. And I'm like, I have to, I need to, I cannot function without that. And he tried to back me down, and a patient should heal enough to be able to do that, but I couldn't at the time. So when I moved and I came to this prospective student event, I was looking for the student that was agreeing to adjust me at Palmer, and I couldn't connect with her for about 3 weeks, and I was suffering bad. So to make a long story short, I met another student at the prospective student event. He was in clinic, and he did this technique called Atlas orthogonality. I didn't know what it was. I had never seen an instrument adjustment before. When he talked, I kind of thought he was nuts, but I figured, hey, nobody else wants to help me, so I'm going to try this, right? So I went ahead with it, and my mom was there for my first adjustment. My first adjustment I will never forget, and I talk to my patients about this quite often in the office, and I get a little bit choked up, or I tell them I recognize their feelings because I felt it too. When I went in that day before my adjustment, I had burning pain all the way down my neck and into my shoulders. I was out of it. I was always kind of self-conscious all the time. Had trouble smiling. Just pain down my spine, legs, everywhere. And he set me up on that Atlas orthogonal instrument, which is an upper cervical adjusting instrument. And he adjusted me. It didn't feel like anything moved. I didn't know what to think. I kind of sat up and I just kind of felt relaxed. I felt at peace, and he started to feel my neck, and it didn't hurt anymore. There was no more pain. There was no more burning, and the room looked brighter, and I felt like I could breathe better. And I just sat there, and he said, how does it feel? And I didn't say anything, and he told me later. I scared him because he's like, oh my God, oh my God. I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say. And I finally said, it doesn't hurt anymore. And it was, I felt a warmth going down my spine, a warmth in my ears and my face. And that afternoon we went to, my mom and I, she saw it and she saw the change in me. And we went shopping that afternoon. We had some errands to run. And I was bubbly and I was talkative and I was laughing and smiling. And she just stopped me and she's like, oh my God, where has my little girl been? She saw me for the first time in years. Like, my personality had suffered so much while I was suffering, and there, all of a sudden, there I was, and I was feeling good and standing tall, and that right then and there, that's when I decided I was making my career out of this, and this is what I was going to do. And that was actually before I ever started Palmer College of Chiropractic. I knew exactly what I was going to do as a chiropractor. When I started studying this technique before I started college, and I never looked back. And now I see patients very similar to what I went through, and I choke up when I cry with them when they go through the same thing that I did. I see other patients with severe cases, migraines, epilepsy, just nervous kind of tics, just neck pain, numbness, tingling. We had some patients with some severe low back pain that we've helped recently. There's so many different symptoms that I help, and the extreme cases, that's where my heart is, because that's where I was. I'd love to help everybody, and general easy chiropractic cases, they seem like you would want to fill your practice with that, but I like to help everybody, so I like to help them too. But it's the extreme ones that are really close to my heart, the people that have been to everywhere else. They don't have any hope left, or they're just hanging on to the last little bit of hope, and we are their last hope. So, and we can help the majority of them, and this is what we do every day. This is I'm so blessed to have been given this career, because we make such a difference in people's lives. So that's my story. I've been migraine free now for 13 years, I believe. Right around 13 years. I don't have fibromyalgia. I don't have pains. I clearly don't have social anxiety, or I would have trouble being a doctor. I'm a completely different person, and my life would have been on a completely different path had I not found Atlas Orthogonal Upper Cervical Chiropractic, and that doctor. And that student, his name is Dr. Darren Shiner, and he practices in Queensland, Australia now. So if anyone's ever in Australia, stop in and tell him hi and say, hey, I heard you changed a girl's life. And there's been plenty other people that he's helped too, but it took some time to get me to heal, but here I am, and I'm very thankful for it.